Blog Talk Radio.
This is the NLPI Friday Night Paranormal Show with Mickey Gokul and Kurt Logston. This is the NLPI Friday Night Paranormal Show with Mickey Gokul and Kurt Logston. This is the NLPI Friday Night Paranormal Show with Mickey Gokul and Kurt Logston. Indeed it is. It's Friday night, 22nd of November 2013 with myself, Mickey Gokul of North London Paranormal Investigations and Kurt Logston. Kurt Logston.
Hey, how you doing tonight, Mickey?
Did you like my little wind-up at the beginning of the show? The little tiny little wind-up that we had there?
I fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. I was sitting there going, I was waiting for the little baby to cry or something like that. And then all of a sudden, it just burst into that. I love it.
Hey, we've got, of course, as everyone knows, this is the last show, so we've got to do what we do, as always, on every single show. We do this. All the way from the USA, your NLPI Friday Night Paranormal Show host, Kurt Logston. Hey, just for you, buddy.
Hey, thanks, man. I do appreciate it on a day like this. I really do, my man.
Well, you know, look, we've got a lot to talk about. A lot to talk about. A lot to go over as well.
Cool.
And some of those moments, are, you know, like they were touch and go. You know, they were really touch and go, and a lot of people didn't realise. So are we going to let them know about what goes on behind the scenes at NLPI Radio UK?
All right.
Yeah, so we'll do that. You know, the kind of things that we get up to off air. I think we'll do that a bit later as well. But Kurt, as always, how's your week been, sir?
Wow. Everything's been great, man. Everything's been hunky-dory. Rough news this morning, but, you know, I'm fighting through that. But I'm psyched for this show, man. I am really psyched for this show.
And, of course, you're going to stay on air on your own show, which is NLPI USA. Okay, that's a totally separate one from the UK. And the other thing as well, there's a lot of people kind of, you know, look, how can I put this? I'm a little bit flattered by the fact that that people out there have listened to us over the course of 6 months since April, Kurt, and I'm flattered that we've got an audience, you know. So thank you very much, because at least I'm not talking to myself, which is to me useful, you know. And so I'm really grateful, and Kurt, you know, what you've done in the last 6 months is mate, I'd buy you a cigar and a big fat mama to go with it when I see you, dude. But it's been a really good one. I mean, I do really want to go straight into it, but I have to. I've got no choice. We've got a lot to cover tonight. But yeah, it's been a great laugh since day one when you interviewed me on a different radio show, and then we got together, started talking. Is this going to work? How is this going to work? What we're going to do? And we came with this show, and we still, for me, I'm very much an amateur, and I don't consider myself a broadcaster, which is why the main reason why I've decided to let the show go on a high rather than on a low, because I can't, without the experience, I'm not going to really take this to much further. So from my point of view, I think it's better for me to leave the show now and keep things running as they are, because in the future, things might change. So we've got potential to come back with a live video stream, so you can see the studio live on Facebook, and you can also see the studio live on YouTube as well. We've got that feature set up already, which we were going to do anyway. So that hopefully will take place. If we come back, that will take place. The other thing I wanted to say is we are looking at doing a Christmas special, Kurt, on the 20th of December.
Okay.
So we'll come back for a Christmas special. But, yeah, this is it. This is the last one, dude. This is it. This is the, I mean,
This is it?
Joking aside, mate, it's the end, dude.
It's a bummer. It's a bummer in a big way.
And you know what? After all these months of knowing you and never actually meeting you, we've got to set a date, and we've got to get this pennies together, and we've got to get you to England and get you on the NLPI UK show and do this kind of stuff,
Oh, yeah.
So music's going in the background. But won't do that one. We've got some interesting things planned for you tonight. Okay. What I was going to do, Kurt, for tonight's show, I was going to do clips of all the other shows that we've done. I think we've done 24 shows.
I think so. Yes.
That's quite a lot. Every single Friday for 6 months. That's quite a dedication. So, on behalf of NLPI UK and the missus and Courtney and everyone else, especially the guys in the chat room, we want to say thank you, Kurt, because without you, there wouldn't be an NLPI. Do you know what I mean, brother?
No, there really wouldn't.
So we owe it all to you. We owe it all to you. So thanks very much for giving us an opportunity to do something quite exciting, and we had a lot of fun. But I'm also, a lot of people have written to us and said, look, any chance you guys coming back? Or yeah, I think let's look to the future, and if we get some help with making sure that we've got good connections, that we don't drop halfway during the show, that we got the right people on board, I think we'll come back, bigger and better. But at the moment, time is a factor as well. I just don't have the time to get it right. So that's a big factor as why we're going to call this one the last show for 2014.
All right.
2013. 2014 is next year. Different story, dude. My bad, mate. My bad.
Hey, we don't even need the bleeper tonight, man. It's set on. We're set on.
It's set on explicit. The show is set on explicit because I haven't the foggiest clue what will happen tonight, okay, guys? So all I'm going to say is this. Whatever happens, I apologise in advance. I promise you I've not been drinking. It's just the way it goes. But listen, there is nowhere else that you're ever going to hear this on a Friday night, Kurt.
Cock-a-doodle-doo, it's time for chicken.
Cock-a-doodle-doo, it's time for a feast. Eat a 90-piece bucket, you can tell.
He's been to Clucking Bell. The chicken is a bird.
Imagine a place where there is no clucking bell chicken song. Can you imagine that, Kurt?
I think we're the only one that actually we're the only one that actually, or you're actually the only one that I think on Paranormal Radio that actually brought it out. I mean, every time we're on the show, something about chicken pops up, whether it's cooking it, whether it's the song, whether it's anything else.
But that was the funny thing as well, because when we first started the show, we had a couple of laughs with, some of the help that we had at the time. And there was always that mention of food, like you say. There was always mention of food, and it was a paranormal show. And for some reason, we're always talking about chicken. No matter who it was, we always ended up talking about chicken. Now, hopefully next week, if I've got the time, I'll go through the archives, and there is 24 two-hour shows. So I'm going to have to go through all of those and find out whether we spoke about chicken with any particular guests. But, we've had some really good guests as well, haven't we, Kurt? The last 6 months.
We've had some awesome guests. We had, Della Farrant. We had, trying to think who else. We had, I forget the guy's name, the UFO guy, and I was just looking at it, too.
Antonio Paris.
Oh, that guy rocked. That guy was actually,
He was awesome, mate. Absolutely awesome. And I've got his book here, Aerial Phenomena. Is the name of his group, and he's in our archive. So if you want to have a listen to that show, he's a UFO expert from the USA, and the guy knows so much stuff. The cases he has dealt with. Oh my gosh! I mean, to actually get to speak to the guy, it's like when you, Kurt, when you read these stories about people that are famous through paranormal work or their UFO research. And then you actually get to speak to the guy, and then you become friends with the guy. That's a feeling right there that you can't get in any other industry.
No,
that's what I believe. It only happens here. And like as you know, over the 6 months that we've been broadcasting, we've made friends and we've made enemies.
Yes, we have.
We've made friends and we've made enemies. And one of those enemies that we made is this guy.
My name is Zach Bagans. I never believed in ghosts until I came face to face with one. So I set out on a quest to capture what I once saw onto video. Is there anybody?
My name is Dicky Local. I never believed in hoax until I came in the face of one. So I get out of my bed and capture a whore onto video. Is everybody queer? With no big-breasted girls following us around, I am joined closely by my fellow masturbator Lick Cock and our sex toy tech Ivor Biggin. The three of us will fornicate at some of the most highly active Bangkok brothels, where we will spend the entire week getting laid from dusk until dawn.
If this is the whore from hell, come on out of that bar and come and get us.
Raw. Did you just charge me? Wet dreams. Stop coming. These are our whore adventures.
Yeah, you made an enemy out of Zach Baggins.
Yeah, and actually, I pride myself on that one. Actually, I don't want to be famous. I much rather be infamous.
Hang on. Whoa. What do you mean you don't want to be famous?
I want to be infamous. If I'm going to do it, no, I'm kidding with you.
Your show is famous. Your show is famous, and your show is famous.
I got a question for you. It's questionable. It's actually really questionable if you think about it. I got a question for you. The was supposedly haunted. Whoa. I got a question for you.
Kurt Logston, host of I've Got a Question for You, appearing now on your screen. You're a bit of a star yourself. I know you're a bit of a star, so you can't say you don't want to be a star. You're already a star, Kurt.
Yeah, from who's I can't even think right now. I'm 120 feet ahead of what I should be saying. I'm a star. I don't think I'm a star. I'm a peckerhead on air sometimes, but definitely not a star.
Yeah, you're a star, man.
Yeah,
he's a star, man.
And we got Ross in there saying a falling star, but a star nonetheless. But we've yet to get this girl, Canadian Ross, to call in and talk to us because we don't know what she looks like. You know, I just see some girl on a mustache on Facebook, and I don't see Canadian Rose. Yeah, Canadian Rose won't call in. He keeps saying Skype this, Skype that, but I think he has a list, Mickey. I think he speaks like this. You know, so yeah.
I reckon he could be related to Simon Cowell.
I think so. I definitely think so. That or Freddie Mercury, one of the two. That's all. That's all.
Nice to see Canadian Ross is in the chat room, guys and girls. Ross, again, Ross is sad to see the show go, but, you know, we've got no choice. And not only that, I'd saved myself £500,000 by having this whole office complex all to myself, you know, like 54 floors of NLPI radio. And I've only rented out one floor, and that's to me. So I had to give it up, really, because it was costing £500,000 a week.
Wow.
Well, no, not really. It's you know, it's all online, obviously. Just in case those listening are disillusioned by what I just said. No, all online, and it's all free. Not really.
No.
Kurt, also, listen. What else have we got? Who else did we have on the show? We had Connor Hopkins on the show.
Connor was great. I think Connor, for somebody his age, is a lot further along than a lot of older people trying to do the same exact thing he is. So you're going to see that guy in the future.
I saw his Ghost Files page on YouTube. So best thing to do is get in on Ghost Files and have a look at some of the stuff that he's doing in the vlog. It's really quite interesting, you know. And he has one or two discussions as well on air. So it's good fun. It's good fun. Get yourself in that chat room. It's the Ghost Files. Look it up, okay? And he deserves your support. He's a very talented person. Kurt.
Yeah.
One of the other guests that we've had on the show is actually on our switchboard at the moment, so we can talk to them in a second, okay? But just to follow on with Connor, I think Connor's an amazing filmmaker, but he's also a paranormal investigator, and at 17 years of age, he's done really, really well. He's got worked on a few shows. He's got his own show, and Courtney's a big fan of his show. It's the Ghost Files, and check it out, guys, because it's really quite worth the watching. And to see this guy go from strength to strength to strength is encouraging as well. I want to bring someone on the show, Kurt.
Okay.
Someone you might know. He's written a book, and his name is Jay.
Hello.
Jason Hollis. Ladies and gents,
guys
and girls.
Doing?
Author of Haunted Enfield.
They always applaud me when I come on.
Hang on a minute. For a minute, I'm thinking I'm Keith Lemon on Celebrity Juice. No, I'm not going to say shitting. Kurt, Jay's here.
Jay, what's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
Yeah, not bad. I've just finished reading bedtime stories to the kids, so I'm here now.
That's awesome. How's everything going with you?
Yeah, not bad.
You planning on your next book? That's what my next question was.
Well, I'm sort of looking into ideas for that. It's where the London Borough of Enfield is. To the west of that borough, there's another borough called Barnet.
Okay.
And I've started to do some preliminary research into stories that come from that borough. So that's sort of the direction I'm going in at the moment.
Oh man, well that sounds fun though. I mean, it sounds like you're staying active. You know what I'm saying? You doing So you've been out on any investigations with Mickey and the crew lately, or anything like that going on?
Well, yes, I have. There was, I think the last one was about a month ago. Was it? But I can't really talk too much about
it. Yeah.
About our investigations, but yeah, there have been about 4 or 5 weeks ago, I think it was.
Yeah, I was just going to bring up the fact you guys are busy.
Was that the one where you were on a live TV stream with a pop band called District 3, Jason?
Oh, no, it wasn't that one. Oh, I've forgotten that one, yeah.
Yeah, you forgot.
That would have been, 3 weeks ago now?
Yeah, on Halloween, we visited a location that was streaming live to its fans. District 3, who are X-Factor finalists, we were invited to their home to conduct a paranormal investigation. Now, it was odd because it was just the wrong environment. It was early evening, so many things going on. But it was interesting because we seemed to get some results via the spirit box.
Yes, yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been through all of the what we recorded that night, and there does seem to have been something going on.
Which is really odd because it's a new flat as well, and there's lots of people there and lots of equipment, so it's really odd. It shouldn't have really happened. We to be honest, we thought we'd be there as a bit of a thing for the boys to do, but more of a bit of a publicity stunt being Halloween. But when we started to get those spikes and other things happening, it was strange. But there's a video out there somewhere on YouTube as well.
On YouTube,
District 3, just District 3, and that was through Fright Club, Twitter it, find out for yourself, Google it, Fright Club with District 3, and then you find out all about what we did on Halloween with those guys. But that was cool, wasn't it, Jay?
Yeah, it's weird, really.
It was probably one of the weirdest ones I've done, but it was good fun. Good fun.
Yeah. Well, we've never done an investigation before where guests turn up, at various points during the proceedings.
And in school uniform as well.
In school uniform, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know where to put my EMF meter, Kurt. Put it that way. But it was fun. But those people that don't know, Jay Hollis is an author, and he's also an investigator as well with my group NLPI, North London Paranormal Investigations. And I think it's when I don't know. It's really hard because now, in the beginning, we used to do lots of investigations where somebody would call and we'd go out. But now we tend to do a bit more groundwork and we say, look, we're only interested if there's evidence. And that's why there seems to be, it's gone a bit quiet. But, if somebody sends me video or a picture and we can't ascertain what it is, then that's when we go and investigate. And I think that works because before I'd be inclined to go, to anything that was just reported. And if it was witnessed by more than one person, then fine. But, as we found out over the last year or so, a lot of people can be delusional at the same time.
Indeed.
Yeah. So, it's been great. But just a reminder, it's just the radio station is shutting down, Jay, not NLPI.
Indeed. Yeah.
The authority, apparently. So we're not shutting down the operation, we're just making up more time for it. Canadian Ross, he says, Ron Jeremy told me he looked sexy.
I made a comment, Jay and Mickey, about Ross. If you go to his Facebook profile, he looks like he's something out of like 1979. He said Ron Jeremy makes him look sexy, or said he looks sexy that way, but I don't see many girls lining up for a mustache ride with Ross. I'll tell you that right now.
I don't know. Handlebar mustaches seem to be all the rage now.
Well, they do this month.
Not so much on the men.
But I don't know. Ross has got a mustache.
Buddy, I'm not saying much more apart from the fact that I live in an area that it goes on every day, mate. But that's it. That's all I'm saying. We got who else have we got? We've got Andy Henson. Andy's a regular on NLPI Radio. Phone in, Andy, if you can. And also, Andy's helped us on a few investigations. So it'd be good to hear.
On Halloween.
And yeah, including the one at Halloween. So hopefully we'll get him to phone in and we'll speak to him. What else? Who else have we got? We've got Julia Stockart. Julia, of course, is our biggest fan, number one fan from Germany. How are you doing, Julia? Nice to see you in the chat room. And we've got a couple of guests as well. Hi to you guys. Right, that's it. It's 21:25 London. Kurt, where are you, sir?
I am 4:25 p.m. right outside of Washington, D.C. at the moment.
What's the weather like where you are?
We're about to get slammed with rain tonight, and it's supposed we got a front coming in down from Canada. Hopefully Ross's mustache will hold that off for a while, so so I could wear some shorts outside or something like that. But I don't know. And if Ross gets blown this way, I don't know. I guess I'm bringing out a baseball bat and playing baseball. But but no, it's gonna be cold as hell tomorrow. It's gonna be like in the 30s, I think, around there, maybe like high 30s. A lot of wind, kind of autumn weather.
It seems that we're heading for 100 days of snow.
Oh, really?
100 days of snow.
Who said that though?
It's one of the newspapers.
Yeah, was it the Express?
But, do you know what? I didn't even read the title, but yeah, probably 100 days of snow.
They've been scaremongering about snow for the past 4 weeks.
I've stockpiled. I've got jerry cans of all sorts of fuel in our garage. We've got gardens full of apples, fruits, bananas, mangoes, tin peas, everything, the lot, fireworks, the whole lot, everything.
You haven't got too many baked beans this time, have you?
No, not baked beans. No, we've got central
heating. Not after
heating.
last time.
We've got central heating. No more baked beans for us. They reckon we're going to have a lot of snow this year. And I know the temperature took a drop this year. The temperature is taking a drop now. But this time last year, what was the weather like? Do you remember?
This time last year, we were on an investigation.
Yes.
And it was absolutely... It was a very, very, very windy night, and there was a lot of rain, very heavy rain.
Yeah.
It wasn't particularly cold, though.
No, it wasn't, was it? Because it was raining. If it had been any colder, it would be snowing.
Yeah.
So... what's going on? I've been checking out weather patterns in over the last 8 years, and it seems that almost every country has been hit by some sort of hurricane or typhoon or tsunami or something like that. And about a month ago, Leeds, there was water. There was so much water that cars were being almost forced down the side of riverbanks and stuff like that, almost like you'd seen of. In other countries like China, example, where they have, where they've experienced tsunamis before, you kind of see those scenes, but up north. And I'm thinking that, I know we've got rising tides and all that kind of stuff, and it's not very paranormal at the moment. But where are we going to be in, I don't know, maybe 150, 200 years' time if this carries on the way it's carrying on? We're going to get buried underwater, and if that's the case, then when we see reports of people finding lost cities underground and statues and, artifacts underground, it's beginning to look like, the Earth gets flooded and then that will recede at some stage and it get flooded again. And when we're looking at history, should we not be looking further down underground, Jay?
I don't know about further down underground, but I mean there certainly are plenty of locations that were previously, saw human development and are now under the seas. There's a location off the coast of Malta, for instance. There's all around the world, in fact, off the coast of Japan, off the coast of India, Malta, all around the Mediterranean. Usually within a mile of the current coastline. But yeah, it's.
Well, have you seen Venice, Italy, and it's over. It gets to the point now where it gets flooded, like all around where all the tourist kiosks are and stuff like that. Yeah, it's getting real bad out.
Well, of course, Venice was built on a marsh anyway, so that's always been a bit of an issue there. But of course, the buildings are slowly sinking.
Yeah,
we're all slowly sinking.
Yeah, well, I am. What was that?
I'm going to bring Andy in. Andy's been waiting in.
Bring Andy in.
So before we bring him in, ladies and gents, Andy Henson.
Yay!
Good evening, gents.
Good evening, sir.
How you doing?
Andy.
I'm really good. How are you, Andy? Just to remind you are live, so.
I'm all right. I've been a little bit flued up this week, but I'm getting better.
Everybody's got the flu. Time of year, or just mixing with people that you shouldn't be mixing in front of. Sorry. Andy, I've got Jay's with us. Jay's with us here as well, as you know. Kurt is here.
How you doing, Jay? How you doing, Kurt?
Yeah, pretty well.
Andy, how you doing, my man?
Yeah, not so bad, mate. Not so bad. I'm getting better.
Yeah, you sound a little stuffed up right there, like you caught yourself a little cold or something like that.
Yeah, I'm sort of short of breath, and my whole brain has just oozed out my nose over the last 3 days. But I'm getting better. It's stopped dribbling.
Yeah.
Things are looking up.
Yeah. Things are looking. How's the other end then? How's the,
Funnily enough, no trouble whatsoever.
Oh man, do you know what? I hate having a cold. The worst thing in the world is having a cold because you can't do anything. You just can't do anything at all. That's the worst thing, mate. I don't mind having a broken leg or something that you can get sympathy off. But when you've got a cold, you really feel bad, and nobody gives a shit. That's the problem.
Nobody cares.
On top of all that, I've had 2 flat tyres this week as well. And one of them had to change outside my house at 6 o'clock in the morning with a stinking cold.
Pissing off neighborhood kids again, Andy, man.
I've got a feeling I might be.
You know what? It's one of them shows, isn't it? It's going to be one of these shows. It's going to be one of these. I should have done. Excuse me. I should have done the other one. I think I'll do that one. Oh, excuse me. This is for Canadian Rose, right? This is for Canadian Rose. That's for Canadian Rose. He knows what it's about. He knows it's shit.
You missed it.
He knows what it's about. All right. So that's for you, sir. One last time. So. Cough. There you go. That was my cough, so you'll get it. Don't worry, you'll get it. They're not getting it, Louis. They're not getting it. Oh,
they're not getting it at all.
In that case, shall we have a commercial break?
Yeah.
Shall we have the only problem is I ain't got any. But do you remember this? I mean, do you remember this? Do you remember this one? A long time ago?
This is MLPI Radio. MLPI Radio. MLPI Radio. MLPI Radio. MLPI Radio. Stay tuned in to North London Paranormal Investigations Radio Show. MLPI Radio.
Oh, the heady days of 6 months ago.
6 months ago. And then people realised that we were out every week, so they decided to stay home and listen to us. Because of course, we were talking about the paranormal and bringing people a show that did speak about the paranormal, but did it in a light-hearted fashion. And I think it worked because we had some great guests, Jay. We had, like people like the Della Farrant, Dave Farrant. We've also had Connor Hopkins as well. We've had Art from Yost Theatre.
Oh yeah.
We also had the crazy ufologist Nigel Wright.
Yeah, and
we had Nigel Wright on the show, the crazy ufologist. Gillian Trench. We had on the show as well, and the Woe Girls. Remember Gillian Trench?
Oh yeah.
Medium, former UFO investigator. I mean, we've had some amazing people on the show. Got to say Redmond McWilliams as well from the Highgate Vampire Appreciation Society. Oh my God, that story goes on and on forever. It goes on and on forever. Andy,
Yo.
Would you like to investigate a vampire story, or have you got an interest in vampires, or investigating the Highgate vampire story?
I'd like to do Highgate. Don't get me wrong; it's a fascinating place. I've seen loads of pictures. Vampires, I don't know. It's a little bit hard to swallow, if you ask me. Don't get me wrong; I'm not taking anything away from what you saw at the cemetery, but a vampire, I don't know.
Well, I think everybody acknowledges that it wasn't a vampire that was seen.
Yeah.
I think everybody apart from the nut jobs would tell you that there is no such thing as a vampire.
Yeah.
And they'd be right.
Yeah, whatever we saw could not have been a vampire, because it looked like every other person on the street. You only have to look at old Victorian photographs to find that everyone was dressed the same. It's just the way, we didn't have that individuality we had because we were living in Victorian times. So, when you look at pictures, you see one person from Victorian era, they're going to look very much like another person from the Victorian era. And if you see two people, they're going to be mistaken for the same. So, it's like, unless we get evidence and proof. Talking of evidence and proof, Andy Henson, Kurt and everyone else, guys, the old orbs have reared its ugly head again.
Oh!
And again, I'm orbs. Yeah, the orbs, yeah. Now, I'm an investigator, right, guys? Like you are, Andy, like you are, Jay. Kurt, you do urban exploration investigations and occasional trespassing kind of thing.
Yeah, that's kind of you actually explained me to a T.
And then you say to the guy, "Listen, I'm here to do you a favour, buddy. I'm here to tell you whether you got ghosts." Do you know what I mean? You're not going to get people knocking on your door. I'm doing you a favour, buddy.
Yeah,
it'll be $54.23, please.
Yeah, I'll start charging them, so I can pay my fine and everything when I get arrested for trespassing. Ross says, "What about anomalies?"
Anomalies.
Like, go ahead. I'm sorry, Mickey.
Look, the thing. Let me take this to the very basic, right? Because I hear so much this and so much that, and I see photographs, and it's crazy, right? First of all, let me say this: I'm not an expert on EVPs, and I'm certainly not an expert when it comes to orbs. Okay, I'm not an expert, and I'm like you guys. When I get a piece of evidence, I ask everybody for their opinion. I also pass the photograph around to people that are experts and people that are not experts and people that have got nothing to do with it to find out what the general consensus is. And then I usually come back and say, I'm not sure, I know, or I don't know. It's as simple as that. That doesn't mean I'm an expert. And I've never said that I've been an expert. I've always said I only know about 3%, if that, of what there is to know. There's a lot more people that know a lot more about the paranormal than I do, I can assure you. But the bottom line is, when it comes to orb, let's go back to the basic fundamentals of what an orb is. An orb is what? Is it lens flare? Is it dust? Is it a spirit? Is it, you know? Well, we can prove it's dust. We can prove it's lens flare. We can prove it's a strap, as you know, a picture that you yourself took, Jay, to the ancient ram in. You know, when you look at anomalies, you look at these things. You have to know what it is that you're seeing, and when you know what you're seeing, it's easy to debunk. It's a bit like going on a game show. You know, look. Everyone here goes on a game show called Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. It's a simple game show. It's based on a simple concept. You get asked 4 questions in one round. You answer all 4 questions, you go on to another round, or whatever. It works like that. And a lot of people say it's hard. It's not hard if you know the answers. Right? It's as simple as that. So if you know the answers, you can win the money. It's as simple as that. In worst case scenario, your best guess is 1 in 4. So the chances are that you're going to win the money, right? And that's what it's about. So it's like, for me, it's kind of like a game show. I'm not buying it, right? Because there's photographers out there that are taking pictures day in, day out with high-resolution cameras, low-resolution cameras, and they don't see a thing. Look at all the pictures in the magazines. None of them have orbs in them, do they? They're professional photographs. And these people, really, are they taking photographs of anomalies and saying, oh, friggin' hell. Oh, my God, look at that. Let me get rid of that picture. That's no good. Then hold on to it and say, hang on a minute, that's a bit unusual. Let me have a look at that. And the reason they're not holding on to it, in my opinion, is because to them, as photographers, it's not unusual. Certainly when I speak to someone, Paul Rowan, for example, professional photographer, I speak to him about some of the photographs, and he explains to me what I'm seeing, and I can understand that. It just makes common sense. But I don't get how people can make that these are orbs, these irregularities are the spirits of individuals. I can't work that out, and I need someone to explain that to me so that I can understand it.
I'm with you like that, but I agree with you 100% because, well, if you look at television, anything that looks like an orb, making some sort of quick movement, going in, let's say, and this traveling energy ball or orb hit me in the side, and then I had this huge on the side of my, you buy that. But they really don't know what he just saw was a piece of dust or a bug making its way around the area with night vision camera. So it's I don't know. But you're never going to win that argument, I think, with these people out there with orbs that are like that, because if you're so dead set that orbs are actually spirits, and that's what you believe, it's like beating your head against the wall.
And
I agree.
Boy, does it hurt when you do that?
Yeah.
The bottom line is, this is a new phenomenon. It hasn't been going around for ages. Jay, we went on a semi-investigation earlier this year, and one of the photographs that came up was the famous ghost photograph. Do you remember that one?
The famous ghost photograph?
The ghost photograph, the photograph that captured a ghost of a female outside a building that we went to have a quick look at.
Oh, right, yeah. Yeah.
Could you tell the story behind that photograph without giving too much away?
This is the one that was taken in 1903.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a photograph that was taken by Country Life, who they were long established, like magazine, started in the 19th century. This particular house was for sale in 1903, and they sent their photographers there to take various photos of the inside and the outside of the house so that they could feature the house in their publication. And one of the photos features the faint outline of a woman in Victorian style clothes walking outside the front of the house. I was shown a copy of that photograph, And to me, it looked like the photograph had been doctored. But how would they do that in 1903? Was my first question. And then the house was formerly, until quite recently, was the headquarters of a university. And somebody who worked there had told me that he'd given that photograph, or that copy of the photograph, to the photographic experts at that university, and he told me that they were at a loss as to explain how that could have been faked or tampered with. But what did occur to me then was that he was talking about this copy of the photograph, and I wanted to know what happened to the actual original negative. So I contacted Country Life, and they put me in touch with the English Heritage National Archives, who now hold the original glass plate negative. So I contacted them, and they confirmed that on the original picture there was indeed a woman walking in front of the house. And it's Country Life policy, apparently, or it was back in the early 20th century, to, if there was anybody in shot of what they call an architectural photograph, which shows the detailing of the house, that they would very carefully scratch the negative to eliminate as much of that person as possible. And that is in fact what happened with this photograph. The woman who was in the photograph, somebody very, very carefully and painstakingly, presumably with a needle, I'm not sure how they do it, scratched away her details so that although she still appears on the photograph, she's very, very faint.
I've seen that photograph. It's quite an amazing picture when you look at it.
When you're told it's the photograph of a ghost and you look at it, you think, oh my God, could it be? But a little bit of research revealed that actually the person was very much alive when that photograph was taken, and it's just subsequent attempts to remove her that have turned her into what looks like a ghost. It's a bit
really
disappointing, really.
Stuff.
It really is.
Yeah, it was fascinating that the fact that a lot of people believe that what they've seen is the real thing.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens. Like the internet is full of it, and it's like an epidemic. I mean, okay, admittedly, everyone does it, every now and again, and they make a mistake. But as you know yourself, Jay, there's a lot of people out there that make a lot of mistakes.
All the time.
And they're major mistakes, but they think that it's going to be buried under the carpet. The research we did on the pub in London, where we were supposedly investigating a haunted prison cell from the nearby prison. We did an investigation. We found out we were over 800 feet from the nearest prison walls, and also there were the coal cellars for the properties that were on both sides of the street. When we looked at every house, we could see they had one in front, just underneath street level. And these little fundamentals, they're the basic things that you need to get right as an investigator. Your location. And then when we looked at the report, which I'm really disgusted with, there's a whole medium talking about incidents happening in 1639 or 1637 in the jail. And the jail wasn't built at that time.
No.
So it's just so bizarre that that people don't only make mistakes, but it seems that they run with it. Whatever it is, they run with it, and it gets to a point where they believe their own shit, really.
And indeed, that whole area that you were looking at, I did a very, I must have spent about 5 minutes just researching the history of that area, and found that 400 years ago it was marsh.
Yeah.
Yeah, there weren't any buildings there. There was no solid ground to construct a building on.
Well, according to this investigation, or the medium from the investigation, there was a prison there. Well, the prison was never there. It was 800 feet away.
Yep.
But, and the whole fact that it's been suggested that these are prison cells. And the minute I got there, I said to Steve Brooker, one of our investigators, as you know, I said that this doesn't look right. It just looks like a whole bunch of coal holes. And you could see the holes in the top on the pavement level. And the part where we were in was just an alleyway that you get at the front of buildings. You know, when you go to the basement level, you kind of walk down a flight of stairs, and then you come to a window and a door, and that will be the basement level of the building. These were just slightly opposite under the road. They were coal cellars. So yeah, that was weird that people would get these things wrong all the time when they're professional investigators belonging to professional groups.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't get it. So if you're professional and you're making these mistakes, then the biggest problem for me is, who do you trust in this industry? Who do you know, everyone said the same thing, and everyone's pretty experienced, and everyone knows stuff. But what you have to do, in my opinion, I think you have to extract what you can from everybody and make your own conclusions as to what's going on. Because if you believe any particular circle or any particular method, then to me, Jay, it just seems like I'm barking up the wrong tree, because there's a lot of fruitcakes out there. You know?
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of fruitcakes out there, and they're there for the glory.
Yeah, indeed.
You know, if you want glory, get yourself a guitar. You know, I don't know what it is about publicity. I hate publicity. You know, believe it or not, I want nothing to do. That's one reason why I'm shutting the show, because I don't want to be a star. I don't want to be like Kurt. Everywhere he goes, he's got women after him. I want to be me. I want to do investigations, and you know, it frees up another Friday night for me to do an investigation. That's another 4 a month, which is great. It means I can do more of what I enjoy doing the most. So, if anyone wants to take this slot, I mean, you're more than welcome to come along, and you can run this slot for me, because I haven't got the time to do it. But that's the problem. When you give them an opening, they don't want it, but they look for every opportunity they can. To get publicity. Mm-hmm. And then when we create a radio show, the very same people are nowhere to be seen. Isn't it ironic? Oh. But yeah, Andy, are you still there, buddy?
Yo. Yeah, I'm still here, mate. I'm just struggling to breathe, let alone talk.
Oh,
you need scotch.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of cracking open the Jim Beam, actually.
Yeah, well, I prescribe. That's a good prescription. I like that.
Are you working tomorrow, Andy?
No, I'm not.
Good. Andy works like, I don't know, mate. You travel miles for our investigations, and you're not even part of the team. That's the thing.
No.
That's the thing. You know, when you're dedicated like you are, you want to learn a bit more. We're quite happy for you to come along and learn with us and experience with us and get your own experiences and take away what you can from it. That's what we're there for. We're not there to hide what we do. Otherwise, we wouldn't invite people like the press, people like Joe Gooch. As I don't think you've met him yet, but Jay, you met him on one of your investigations, wasn't it? Your location.
Yeah, earlier this year. Yeah.
Joe Gooch is an actor. He's an actor. We had a bit of a fallout on Facebook. Not really a fallout, and it wasn't on Facebook. It was on Twitter. But Joe basically was saying, you know, look, come on, you're paranormal investigators, okay? I believe in this stuff. But how can you prove it? How can you prove it? So we said, rather than having a debate on Twitter, why don't you come along to an investigation and have a look for yourself, find out what's going on? And he got validation. He actually got validation, and he's experienced paranormal before, but what he experienced that night was quite amazing. He actually got a name of, I think, a couple of individuals as well. Not actually sure, but yeah, he got a name. But that location is interesting.
It's very interesting. I've actually been trying to get back in touch with them again this week. So, you know, let's hope we get a response.
Because it's we were supposed to go back there when they were going to when they were due to do some work.
Yeah,
I think so. We had to go back there during the time when the place would be empty. But we never got the call, so we don't know what happened. They won't see what happened.
To my knowledge, that work has not yet been done.
Okay.
As far as I'm aware.
It's a location which is how can I explain it? it's a historic location, but it's active. It's being used actively day in and day out. So we don't want to say too much about it because people have opinions and views. So, you know, the staff were happy for us to be there. The people that were involved in that investigation gave some good evidence. Well, when we say evidence, they gave information that we could cross-reference in sort of some kind of written, documented account of who.
Yeah, myself, and the manager of the property. There was stuff that we could verify that night, although we didn't verify it to the people that were, coming up with what they were saying at the time. But yeah, there were sort of boxes that we were ticking off all night long with information that was being said.
Which is what we want, isn't it? We want kind of some sort of proof. And anyone walking to the house now, you could always pick up names. I mean, the most common thing is when you have a medium with you, there's always that disbelief that the medium is actually talking a load of crap. Because I think, how do I say this without being offensive? There are some mediums out there when you see them on TV, they're always talking about doom and gloom. It's always bad. It's always demonic. It's always, you get out of the house, that kind of thing. But from my experience, I've never had that much demonic stuff apart from the Grinch. Not the Grinch, the Grudge. Which is
and
going
whatever
on
that
right
is
now.
behind you at the moment.
That's the Grudge. That's Courtney. She's
right on cue.
Yeah. She knows. She's got that in her. But yeah, with regards to information, I think the reason we take people on investigations is because we want to see what information they're picking that's relevant. I think that's the key word that we forget is the relevant information. Not all of it's relevant and not all of it is kind of doom and gloom. So the bits that are left behind we can't use. Which is a real shame, really, because sometimes you hear a story and you really want to know the truth of the story.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
And with that location, there is very much a mystery that I want to look more into and get more information on.
Yeah.
Without
indeed.
giving anything away.
And of course, I've got an interest in that as well because I had a dream about that location the night before.
Oh, that's right, you did, yeah.
Yeah, we would find something in an area, and it just seemed to make sense. That when I got to when we got to this underground level, there was a room that was on the map, but you could quite clearly see it was sealed off. And no one was aware that it was a room. We discovered it was a void. And that seemed to fit in with what I was picking up in my dream and I felt about the location, about this particular space that was significant. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we can have a look at that and see, when the guys finally, we can have another look at it and see exactly what's there. But we're still waiting to hear from them.
Yep.
We're still waiting to hear from them. So, can't wait. And that investigation, will that remain private, or will they follow like the other venue that we did, who actually started to ask you to write a blog for them about the investigation? Remember that one?
Yeah. Well, this particular venue, I think for the moment it will remain private, but the manager stroke owner did hint that at some point he may well go and put information up on his website and give us permission to advertise. But at the moment, I don't think it would be the right thing to do.
No, I think you'd get the wrong sort of people round.
Yeah. Yeah.
The wrong sort of people. You don't want, buildings that are normal buildings becoming, like the Cage, for example. I mean, Vanessa Mitchell's Cage in St. Osip. It's just kind of frightening the amount of times that people are walking in there with Ouija boards and all kinds of stuff when, you want to do an investigation and you want to get results. I'm not knocking Ouija boards. Don't get me wrong. We use a Ouija board as well, but it's just a lot of people don't seem to know what they're doing, and that's the problem I have. Yeah, sorry. I was waiting. Do you know what? I'm going to put Andy's mic on. Sorry, I thought it was live. Andy.
Yo.
How you doing?
Hello.
Where have you investigated that that's had a bit of a hype? Because we've investigated a couple of places, but where have you investigated, as far as you know, that's had a really good hype, and then you've got there and you found it's been really totally flat?
Probably the worst one for me is a place called Rye Castle. In Rye, in Sussex, I suppose, East Sussex, I suppose you'd call it.
Yeah.
It's a lovely little place. The actual sort of Rye village is beautiful. Lots of history. There's quite a famous haunted pub down the road called the Mermaid.
The Mermaid.
I think it's called.
Yeah.
This little castle is absolutely beautiful. It's a tiny little castle, basically. Supposed to be very haunted. And it sort of struck a chord earlier on when you were talking about the mediums. Because the time I went with two groups. The group I normally sort of investigate with, and another group from Essex. And a lot of mediumship skills throughout both groups. Pretty much everyone other than me. And we spent the night, everyone was having all their own wonderful personal experiences and experiencing negative entities and, different sort of power struggles through the night. And I'm sat there with me night vision camcorder in the corner, wondering if maybe I was in the wrong place. It was sort of really quite surreal at times because I wasn't feeling anything. I was getting no vibes. Other than enjoying being in a castle that's sort of 800 years old, that was about it. And it was quite disappointing, I've got to be honest. I took a lot of footage, probably a good 6 hours worth of footage. I've not even watched it all the way through because I wind myself up again by sitting and watching the footage.
Yeah.
It's
I
almost
can understand
like
that.
It's almost like a form of mass hysteria. But that's the way... Because don't get me wrong, I do believe, and I wholeheartedly believe, I've had my own experiences. What I've seen, I cannot explain. And my whole point of being an investigator is to try and find proof, to be able to prove what I've seen or something similar to what I've seen isn't me going mad, isn't other people going mad. But I think back to that night, and I look back sometimes occasionally at the footage and just watch 5 minutes of it, and it sort of reminds me straight away of the sort of night I had. And I think to myself, this just seems like a form of mass hysteria. Someone starts the ball rolling, I can see a man with walking with a limp, and then someone else says, "Are you sure it's not more of a stoop?" And it's almost like they're conjuring up a person. Between 3 or 4 people, they're adding their own little
details.
Yeah, and they're making an image which they can all relate to because they've all added their own part or their pound of flesh. And after a little while, you've got this person which you can almost, well, I certainly could. You could picture it in your own mind just from the description they've given.
Yeah, and the power of suggestion is very, very strong in the dark.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just felt a little bit out in the cold.
It does that.
It was a shame. There was no
it's
physical...
the atmosphere as well. You've got an atmosphere and you feel like, unlike a party, it's a bit like you're going party and so everyone's saying, yeah, come on, let's dance, guys, let's dance. And okay, I can see you all dancing, but I don't know how to dance foxtrot. And you're kind of sitting there on the side thinking, I really want to have a go at this. I really want to get in there and and feel what you guys are feeling and have a great time. But I'm a line dancer. I'm not a foxtrot. So you kind of you sit on the side thinking, what the hell's going on? But you almost feel like you should belong to that, Andy. That you should be experiencing that because everyone else is. So why are you so odd? You
Absolutely.
must be the skeptic.
I had the same sort of thing. I don't know if we've ever spoken about this, but I come from a very religious upbringing. Not Catholic, but very, very high Church of England sort of background. I used to sing in a choir, and my family, especially on my father's side, were all very deeply religious. And I went to Sunday school. I helped out in the Christmas Bazaar. I helped out at the Sunday Fates. I even helped out in church from time to time with sort of baptisms and stuff like that. My mother died when she was 43. I was 17 at the time, and at that point I lost any kind of faith that I still had, which was waning anyway, to be honest. But at that point, I lost any kind of faith I had in religion, and I started looking at different lifestyles and what have you, and eventually become the person who I am now. Being involved or being interested in the paranormal, for me, felt a bit of a contradiction in terms if I wasn't religious. When I started not investigating, when I started having an active interest in the paranormal, I felt it was a contradiction in terms. If I wasn't religious, how could I sort of believe in the paranormal? How could I believe in ghosts if I didn't believe in God? And it's only probably the last 5 years or so that I've realised that, of course that doesn't have to go hand in hand, but it's much the same sort of thing, that you have these preconceived ideas, and then education breaks down the walls.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the problem as well. I mean, so many people having experiences. There's a lot of genuine people out there who are having experiences. And it's like the old cliche, like these pilots, they're not allowed to talk about the UFO experiences because in the days of old, they would lose their job. They would be actually deemed as being unfit to fly. I mean, come on, these guys are trained individuals. They know what they're seeing. They know what they're seeing. You can tell an aircraft from a flock of birds when you're at 35,000 feet because they do it 2 times a day. So they know what they're seeing. But yet they're told that, look, your eyesight is clearly affected. If you want to keep your license, keep your mouth shut. That's the UFO phenomena. Whenever anyone sees a ghost, the first thing we say is, "Oh, you're crazy." Now, that's normally a reaction of most people, but there's a lot of people out there that believe in ghosts because they've had an experience. So when you talk about it, it seems like, okay, someone else has had an experience. But how many people have really had an experience that has been paranormal? And how many people have really had an experience that they just cannot explain? In my mind, these are two different things that we're discussing. And a lot of people fall into the cannot explain rather than paranormal. Does that make sense to you guys?
A lot of sense.
So, where are we, Kurt? I mean, it's 2013, okay? I've got a whole situation where there's a lot of people out there that are very educated people that are part of my team, part of other teams worldwide, solo individuals that go out there. And, there's a lot of educated people out there, and they want to know if there's any evidence of the afterlife. And the obvious way of catching evidence these days is using recording devices and video cameras. We can also use data loggers with other equipment and log data and analyze the data. But is there ever going to be a break in technology that's going to allow us to capture the Holy Grail, and so that we can actually see what we're all talking about?
Can we be honest about that one? I think the only way to know is actually to pass on, and that's kind of rough, and it's kind of just not, professional. But I mean, do you think we've reached a pinnacle with all the gear that we have, what else could be created out there that might be able to detect afterlife? And that's what I've been thinking about, because you're seeing all this gear and stuff out there now. I mean, like you were talking about, Mickey, you were saying EVPs, you were discussing video, maybe some pictures, if you catch something that's you can't explain away. But I mean, I think that's at the point we're at. And then you got these neat little gadgets now, like the Oculus and I'm trying to think. Some other things like Spirit Box. That's where I was trying to get at. And the way I look at it is, the Oculus, it's just basically a toy. I mean, it's a toy for people that want to go out there. Because if I'm trying to contact someone, let's say I come into contact with, let's say, energy from that's been around for 300 years, there's no way it's going to be able to explain itself unless it's set phonetically on the Oculus. And who would know? What would I know if I die now, if I'm floating around in a million different energy spurts all over the place, a brand new device that's going to be up? I'm going to have no idea what that is. I mean, so I don't think so. I don't think we'll ever be 100%. As long as you're alive, I don't think. I mean, you could have your belief system, but honestly, I don't see it ever taking place. I don't ever see it being down 100%. Unless we're able to, so that's my take.
We've got to look at new technology. New technology, new ways of investigating, new methods of investigating, because we're all sold out with the methods that we've got at the moment. We're, guys like us, guys like North London Paranormal Investigations, we're limited by our budget. But I don't understand how we've got the same equipment that the TV shows have got. Come on, there's money in it. How come we got the same kit? You guys should be really building kit. That's one thing I like about your arch enemy, mate.
My arch enemy,
Yeah, I like the fact that he does bring on new things on the show to test out and experiment. I like that idea. I really do like that.
I want to see him. I saw a show the other day, Ghost Mine. That show. They actually brought a Tesla coil out, and they put it in the mine. And I thought that was like one of the coolest ideas. And then see what you can get from there, because you can only get put out so much EMF with these little pumps that everybody sells now for about $125. I've got like 3 of them, and it really doesn't mean anything to me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you put it down if you want to do an EVP session or something like that, but I don't know. I mean, are we looking at?
It generates energy. It supposedly generates energy, so the spirit can use the EMF pump, so that it can materialize or have the energy to move the spirit forward or to communicate in some way, shape, or form. That's the idea behind it, isn't it?
That's behind it, but then you put a Tesla coil, which will just blow that little pump out of the water, and you're going to get, I think, a bigger find using something like that than you would these pumps. Because they run on a 9-volt battery. I don't know, and I've tried them, but to no avail. Maybe, of course, I'm in the wrong spot. Maybe I need to, move it. I don't know. I'm not doubting them, because you need them. But then, if you can afford to somehow get a Tesla coil and just go into a house, make sure you don't blow the walls out with it, with electricity and stuff like that. But that I thought was the coolest thing ever. To see how that Tesla coil was used.
I'm going to get 3 of them for my team. Can you imagine? Can you imagine knocking on somebody's house in Enfield, Jay? Do you mind if I just bring in a couple of Tesla coils? Where's your main supply, love? There it is. I'm just going to pop this in your living room. How many floors above you? Well, when we leave, there might not be that many floors. Just letting you know now. I can imagine that. I can imagine it. But we need. I say this a lot. We need to look somewhere else. We need to look at lasers, not in the way that they're being used in laser grids. There's other ways of using lasers. Look at TV shows, for example. They can scan. We use lasers in supermarkets, for Christ's sake. They can scan barcodes. you can teach a laser by way of a program, simple program, to recognize patterns. You know, they do it all the time. So why not in the paranormal? It will work, and I know it works. I spoke to somebody about this, and they can do it. They can pre-program programs in like they do with barcodes. Barcodes is an old technology, so we can use that old technology. And listen up, guys. If you got any, you've got access to programming equipment, and you want to give this a go, you can do it on your iPhones. You can program or edit the code somehow to recognise different shapes rather than just a barcode shape, and it will work. Other things like, instead of using a Ouija board, use a Microsoft wireless keyboard. How is that going to work? Well, if there's a spirit and it's intelligent, it will know where the letters are because it will be familiar with that apparatus. It will be familiar with the keyboard. But if it's an old spirit, it won't be. Then I don't know. When I'm confused. For those of us that have never used the Ouija board, when we die and we come, into contact with our family and they're there with a Ouija board, how do we know how to use that Ouija board? So how are we going to know how to use technology when we're dead? How are we going to know how to use it if we've never actually had that as part of our life? That's the thing I don't understand. Is it just common sense? I don't get it. There's a lot I don't get.
Maybe when you pass over, you get this almighty idea of how everything works, but I highly doubt it. But I don't know. That's a question I think that investigators in the years to come are going to have to figure that out in a big way if they want to be spot on or close to being spot on to their actual what their findings are.
You have two things to consider sometimes, right? The bottom line is, we've got scientists, right? We've got some of the best scientists in the world, Jay, in England. In America, there's some amazing minds. I'm stupefied. I can't understand for 1 minute how we've got these amazing minds out there, totally educated to the hilt, and yet we get no assistance from them in any way, shape whatsoever.
Nope.
What do they know? Because they've got access to money. They've got access to equipment. They've got access to vehicles and permissions from the government to go and investigate locations. What do these guys know? We know they're out there. We know there's teams out there that are investigating paranormal activity that work for the government. We know that, don't we, guys?
Yeah,
don't we?
I don't know. I think the money goes to where whoever has the best ideas, willing to write a grant to get grant money from the government. Yeah. I mean, if you have it down, you're that good, and you want to experiment with something, but you got to think who's funding it. Why would they fund a life after death? To see. Why would they do that? Why would the government fund that when there's all these other things going on in the world? I don't know.
Why would they fund satellites in space? 50 years ago?
Yeah.
Because there's big companies that want to see that technology developed.
Absolutely. And on the back of the satellites, look where we are today.
Yeah.
So if you can develop a technology that is just upgradable and totally future-proof, that's going to be worth a lot of money. Are you with me, Kurt?
I'm with you. I'm with you big time. It's going to be worth a hell of a...
Where are the big guys? Why are we left with all the... I'm not being disrespectful. I'm saying, where are the big guns are out there, yeah? We look at storm chasers. They go out there in vehicles that have got Tesla. They've got all sorts of stuff on their vehicles. I can't even tell you what they've got, but they've got loads of things. And they go out in the middle of storms and deploy equipment, and they go back to their research labs and they analyze the data, and they're finding some way of possibly predicting storms and understanding them a lot better. Why are these guys not classed as nutcases? Because they're doing exactly the same thing we're doing.
Yeah, but I think what it looks like, though, is that meteorology tends to take a front seat than to paranormal investigation. I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, it takes a front seat because, you know, the effects of meteorology. You got storms, you got tsunamis. Then we're talking about also volcanoes. You got, and I'm not talking meteorology with that, but you're talking all of that stuff that kills thousands of people. But, you know, but then you got these smaller experiments going on, too. I mean, I've heard stories about doctors or surgeons that have actually taken, like, it's a simplistic method. You have something in the surgical room, you put an X on top of it, because everybody says, well, you know, when I flatlined, I floated above and looked down to see my body. Well, they put certain letters or numbers up there to test these people. Well, maybe did you actually get it right, or didn't you get it right? I mean, it's just such a simplistic way of actually doing an investigation. But, you know, that's what's going on out there. Nothing on a huge scale, I don't think.
Are you sure? Is there no mileage in the fact that, you know, to be able to speak to somebody that's passed over, you could actually find out whether the particular drug they were taking, the doses they were taking, blah-de-blah-de-blah. Literally, you could abuse that whole spirit realm if you had the technology to be able to understand it. And it's a bit of a race. When you look at it, you know, look at us. I mean, we're all handicapped by finance. And these guys that have got the finances, they're the ones that are in a position where they can tell us a lot better what is going on. And there's a lack of that. That's my problem. Mm-hmm. There's a lack of it coming out of those stables, you know, the stables where the money's at. Because when you look at every other industry, wherever the money is, that's where the technologies and the breakthroughs come. Science has given us no technology and no breakthroughs in God knows how many frigging years. All we're doing is relying on each other's groups and information we get from people, because they're the ones doing the research and they're the ones that we can approach. So we approach them and they share their information like we do with other people. Why is it that, I don't know, someone's got to tell me this, but, you know, why don't we get this from a higher authority? Listen, guys, you know, you're barking down the wrong street. You need to do it this way. Or, thanks very much for your interest. You know, here's a couple of £1,000. Go and use some kit. We know you don't want to get paid for it. So off you go. Be merry. Just come back with your research, and then we'll give you another £1,000 and go and do some more. Is that too much to ask? Am I barking up the wrong tree? Do I think that something more is going on and we're being just held back because, you know, we're not employed by them to do it?
Well, I suspect it depends where those particular scientists are getting their funding from.
Yeah, I mean, you're... Go ahead,
presumably it's, you know, most science these days is getting its funding from big business. You know, the drug companies and of course governments. You know, weapons technology. You know, even if the work that the scientists are doing isn't directly related to like pharmaceuticals or weapons technology, quite often you find that it's played a part in the development of something that crops up 10 or 15 years later.
Yeah. Byproducts, like diesel, for example, plays a major part. You know, there's so much that I don't understand. Because I mean, after this show, we've got about half an hour left. But after this show, I'm not really going to have this much of a frank talk with a lot of people at the same time, and so it's going to go very much underground. We're not going to be talking about a lot of the things we're going to be doing. So this is the last chance to find out what we're up to. And also, good opportunity to find out as well what everyone else is doing as well. Because when we come back, if we do come back, that is, then you know we can pick it up straight up from there and find out if we've made any progress, maybe 6 months, a year later. But you know, I'm looking at with technology, I'm looking at developing a system where you quite clearly you've got lights that light up that react to the environment that's being manipulated by the spirit rather than catching the spirit itself. I do not believe that we're going to catch, Elvis on tape, or we're going to get Elvis on video, but I do think that we can get the reaction of a spirit if it walks across a room and the room's full of sensors. We can get a reaction like we do with every other piece of apparatus we use. We just got to use something a bit bigger and a bit more sensitive. Having a wall-to-wall room with sensors, anything that moves in that room is going to react with one of those walls that's nearest to it. So the idea is that if somebody's walking, a spirit is walking, and you can hear footsteps, then ideally, if there is an energy making that noise, then you'll be able to see the lights light up where those footsteps are being made. You'll be able to pinpoint accurately where those noises are being made. Is that going to work? I don't know. We can only test it. But I'm sure other people have done that before, because I'm not. You know me. All you guys know me. I'm not a scientist. I'm not educated to the nth degree. I'm just a normal North London born and bred guy that has an interest in the paranormal. So if I can imagine this kind of equipment is the way forward, and it's very easily produced, then why isn't it being done? This is the thing. It's being talked about on a particular TV show that is going to be released, but why isn't it being done? That's my problem. That's my question. That's my problem. What's going on? Kurt?
Yes.
Is it the government that's holding us back? Is it equipment that's holding us back? Is it just funds? Is it the fact that
that's all of it?
Scientists?
I think it's all of the above. I mean, to think about it, look at UFOs. They're kind of holding back on that, but who knows if UFOs actually exist? They could be, like we've said before, like it could be military technology 15 years in the future being tested out, or they're holding us back as life after death. That's a religious thing, I think. I think more or less that's a religious, personal belief kind of deal. I don't think the government really is. I don't think the government knows Sasquatch is out there, and they're like, we don't want to throw funds for might throw the world into a turmoil if somebody finds Bigfoot, Leave that for the Canadians or some rednecks out there to do that. But, but
oh, you know what?
We've just lost a whole load of Canadian followers, I think.
That was just aimed at Canadian Rose. But
in the chat room, the guy in the chat room. He's a friend of ours, by the way, just in case you're listening and you think we're poking fun at him. He's a sweet girl guy.
He's a sweetheart. He's a sweetheart.
He's a sweet girl guy.
Yeah, he's one of those. He's like one of those.
We'll miss him.
Yeah, we'll miss Ross. But I don't think the government's holding us back. I just think technology. It's like, who's building the equipment that you're using? How far can you? What you know what I'm saying? Because most of the kits out there are already made. You guys are lucky to have your own kits you put together. Basically, I think you're going to be better off than a lot of these groups out there that are going on GhostHunters.com, St. Augustine Haunts, wherever you go. Amazon's even selling things now. I think you're going to be better off using your tech guys, because you're only going to be as good as your technology, I think, and your head, your thought process, of course, your mind. But to tell you the truth, I don't know. It's a rough one, because what's coming out, the only thing that what's going on, okay, and I'll backtrack on this, is what you see on TV. What are these groups using? What are the CAPs using? What are the guys from GAC using? And that's how, these, all of a sudden, everybody's got an ovulus. All of a sudden, everybody's got a millimeter. All of a sudden, everybody's got a spirit box. It's because of television. Honestly, most I'd say 80% of the time, and I might be going a lot on that. 80% of the time, it's TV, because these guys make a lot of money off of it, And I'm sure there's a lot of these other guys that are like fighting tooth and nail to get their equipment on there to sell, talk to Zach Bagans in a business meeting. Well, use this on next episode, or use this next season, because we want to make a lot of money off of it. And that's what's going on, because when you're talking in Ovilus, you're not talking cheap. You're talking the Ovilus 3 in American dough is $279.
Gee.
Yeah, $279. It's a handheld
How much?
one. $279.
Whoa.
That's a lot of money for a toy.
That is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Why don't you just get Speak and Spell? Tell.
And Etch-a-Sketch.
Yeah, Speak and Spell and Etch-a-Sketch and a little £3.99 camera from Boots. That will do. There you go. And don't forget. Don't forget your iPhone app.
Oh,
iPhone app.
Don't go there. No, I like iPhones. Some people swear by those iPhone apps, but then again they forget. Hey, if you're going to use an iPhone app, make sure you turn off or turn on your airplane mode, so that way you're not giving off all sorts of stuff.
Flight mode.
Flight mode, yeah.
Yeah.
Flight mode. Absolutely right, mate. It's 10:30, guys and girls. Last half hour of NLPI Radio UK, and we'll be back in a second. Hang on.
This is NLPI Radio. NLPI Radio. NLPI Radio. NLPI Radio. NLPI Radio. Stay tuned in. North London Paranormal Investigations Radio Show. NLPI Radio.
This is the NLPI Friday Night Paranormal Show with Mickey Gokul and Kurt Logston. This is the NLPI Friday Night Paranormal Show with Mickey Gokul and Kurt Logston.
Indeed, it is the last one, the last show.
Oh man, what a bummer!
Oh, dude, it's like it's dawned upon me now. It's the last show. I mean, we've had like our regulars like Julia. Julia's been there week after week. Canadian Rosie. He's been supporting us as well. We've had guests. We've got guest David Farrant, legend. David Farrant is in the chat room here.
Yeah, I saw
on
that.
NLPI Radio. Dave, if you don't know about the Vampire Highgate mysteries, and you got to look him up, David Farrant. Just check out his website and Hidden Highgate, of course, from Della Farrant as well. Check those out, guys. We had them on the show a while ago. We had David Farrant was one of our first ever guests on NLPI Radio. So you can check out that show if you look at the beginning of our archive of 24 shows I think we've done, Kurt. Every
24.
single Friday. 24 shows. That's That's pretty good going, I think. For an amateur like me and for an old hag like you.
Even you know how to treat a woman right, Mickey.
Oh, you know this. You know the score, Kurt. We all love you. We all love you.
Sometimes it hurts so much, all you can do is laugh.
There you go.
I think Della's here too. It says we're both here.
Yeah, Della Farrant, how you doing? Oh, David and Della said don't want to see the show end. I don't want to see it to end. But I think it's time. You know, I've had a play for a while, and I think if we can get somebody that's used to broadcasting to come along and actually do it, that would be great. That'd be great because I need to free up my time to do other things, go back to investigating, which is what I love and I think I'm better at. And not only that, I think people prefer me in the dark.
They prefer you in the dark. Why is that?
Yeah. And on radio, you see, because it's just, you know, when you reach my age, you know. Oh, Redmond McWilliams as well. Redmond. Oh, well, I mean, from the Highgate Vampire Appreciation Society. So I'm going to get that right. Well, if I don't, David will certainly put it up in the chat room. But Redmond was here. Remember, I spoke to you about Redmond. He came to our Halloween event in Enfield as well, and he spoke at that event. So we're grateful for that as well. But the guy's amazing. Check out the website as well, which is the Highgate. I think it's the Highgate Vampire or Highgate Cemetery Vampire Appreciation Society. But I've got that wrong. I know I have. But I'm sure David will put up in the chat room anyway. Della, of course, will be the author of Haunted Highgate, which is coming out next year. And Jay is the author of Haunted Enfield, which is out already. Jay.
Nice. Yeah, indeed.
It's out. Yeah, I mean, I saw a picture of you in the paper.
Yeah, not a bad photo actually. You know,
it was a good picture.
Yeah, I thought it might be an awful one, but actually I quite liked it.
And that was you doing a book signing at Waterstones in Enfield, which is where.
That's correct. Yeah. And then the newspaper reported on it.
It's like 12 years. It's like 12 years of work, you know, that you've actually got in front of you. I mean, that must feel pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's nice for it to be out there because for years it was pretty much a hobby. Really, when I had a bit of spare time, you know, do some more writing, do a bit of research, and it didn't really, you know, hit home as being, you know, something that was really real until the history press, the publishers, came back to me and gave me a contract to have it finished in 6 months' time, and that was like, oh my god. Luckily, I'd contacted them when I was already three quarters complete. So
good.
Yeah, go on.
Good stuff. Was it like, this sort of thing doesn't happen to me?
I don't know. To a small extent, perhaps. I mean, by the time I was approaching publishers, I knew that this was something that did need to be published. You know, I wasn't going to have written as much as I had written. And in fact, at the time that I contacted the publishers, I had something like 37,000 words. And the contract said that it needed to be no more than 35,000 words. So I had to do quite a lot of editing to get it down to what they had stipulated. So I was in a good position when I did contact the publishers.
Wow.
Which does mean
there's things change for you because we know you. Go on.
Go on. No, you go.
I was just saying that since, you know, because we know you as you know, you're our friend and investigator, and we know you. But since the book's been launched, has things been different for you? Like, have you had phone calls from half-naked blonde women, or, you know?
Not yet, and I'm very disappointed about that.
Oh. But then again, you're used to being in the limelight a little bit because you play a musical instrument as well.
Yeah, a little bit. I've trod the boards and I've played gigs and done all sorts. Really, you know, it was very nice.
Another one wanting fame.
Yeah. Oh,
another one wanting fame. But you're kind of used to it a little bit. But this must be a really good feeling, mate. And I'm so glad that we could help you with it, because I remember that first day meeting you in the car park at the King and Tinker pub, and nobody was really quite sure what was going to happen and stuff. But yeah, that was a really good night. And for me, to be able to go back to a place, as you've written about in your book, to go back to the place after so many years, for me, that was when my paranormal first started, from that very place. That's the place where I just had questions that I couldn't answer, and I still can't answer those questions. But what I saw and what I experienced in the pub and everything else was just bizarre. And the whole thing was just very bizarre. But a really good pub as well. So if anyone's in Enfield, North London, go and have a look at the pub. It's the oddest pub ever.
It is a fascinating building.
Yeah. I mean, the architecture is odd. A fireplace spans almost the entire length of one wall, with two small windows. And I think I mentioned to you that I believe that it looks like a priest hole. That there was space upstairs as well in the bedroom where the person had passed away.
Yeah, I'm still not convinced that there's priest holes in that building, but there are elements of the building that it looks like they've come from an older, grander building.
Yeah,
and it's believed that certain parts of the King and Tinker came from the old Whiteweb's house, which was quite renowned for having priest holes all over the place.
Yeah, and the Whiteweb's house was particularly significant because of Guy Fawkes.
Indeed, the conspirators used it. It was being rented by Anne Vaux, who knew Robert Catesby and some of the other conspirators. I think she was related to one of them, and she allowed them to use the house as a safe house while they were plotting their ill-fated plot.
That's it, Enfield. Well, that's in your book as well, isn't it?
It is indeed, yeah.
Get the book, guys. I mean, you got to read the book. Come on, we're in the book. I think 5 investigations you've covered. That you would. Oh, hello, Courtney.
There's certainly three full investigations covered in there. Yeah.
Good. So, if you want to find out a little bit more about what we get up to and what Jason's research about North London, Enfield, you check it out, Haunted Enfield, on Amazon. Go on, check it out, guys. Make this guy a star, because he's a star. Shame to see the show go, because it was a great platform to promote people like yourself, Jay, and also Paul Rook. We had Paul from another team last week. We had Julia from Paranation. We've had loads of people. We've promoted loads of people as well, haven't we?
Yeah. Edwin Becker.
Becker, big time. Yeah.
We've had that. The one person we haven't had is Kurt Logston.
Oh, you don't need me, dude. I'm always. I end up going as a guest on the show, and I end up interviewing the host. I mean, that's what happens. So it's just out of habit.
That's what's good. That's what happens with me a lot of the time. I find that you end up taking the reins, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you, Kurt, because it's the last time that, apart from the Christmas one, which I think we'll do on the 20th of December, it's the last one that we're doing for a while. You know what? I'm going to miss you a little bit, buddy. I am going to miss you. You know that.
Man, you're going to be on our show. You know you're going to be on our show.
Here we go. Here goes the bromance.
I'm going to play it all the way through. I'm determined. I'll get commission on it.
Oh, bastard.
It's been an amazing journey, hasn't it? The fact is that when we first started, we certainly for me, I wasn't sure what I was doing. And let me drop this file in a bit.
It was new to me. It was new to me too, still, because it's like you get used to working with certain people, and then you switch shows, and then you got to find your place again in that show.
And the thing is, you know, like you've been in America, us being here, we had to find a slot that would be great for time for both of us, and the talks we do off air as well. I mean, sometimes we used to talk for hours, didn't we? Just talking about what we do on the air and other people, and usually have a right bitch and a moan, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We always, brilliant.
Talk about Canadian roads and everything else. You know,
oh man, and the pictures that we've posted about him on it online.
Oh,
but it's been fun. It's been a real education for me. I got some answers to some questions. I've got even more questions to more questions. But yeah, it has been fun, and I've enjoyed doing it. I know. Totally. Andy's enjoyed it, haven't you, Andy?
Absolutely.
Well, there you go, and you know he's only just managed to change shifts so that he can join the show, and
now it's all over.
Yeah. So what's next? What's coming next? Well, who knows? Who knows? Because I can't really say, because I don't really know at this moment in time. But we do want to come back with a Christmas show, have a bit of fun. We don't want to get a nice little soundproof cop for Courtney. Bless her. And also we want somebody to come on board that's a lot more into broadcasting than I am, because that will give me an opportunity to actually go out on investigations and start to do what we do best and what I love the most is paranormal investigations. Not only that, but it'll cure a backlog and save a bit of finances as well. So we're going to kind of save up, have a house move, get Christmas out of the way, and have a look at coming back next year with a bigger and a more fuller schedule. I think there'll be mediums. Medium Spiritual Sunday going on. There's going to be a UFO show, and there's going to be a Friday Night Paranormal show, and something during the week. But stay tuned, because we will not stay tuned to the station, but stay in tune with us, because we will take you. We'll give you all the information we can and keep you up to date. Okay, so we'll let you know. We'll let you know what's going on. Kurt, my friend.
Yes.
I'm going to miss that squeaky chair of yours.
And I'm not even on a squeaky chair anymore. I no longer have it. But you're going to be on Tuesday's show, dude. Don't write yourself off yet, buddy. You're going to be on Tuesday shows here and there, right?
If it's Tuesday's show, it's a totally different pace.
Yeah.
Totally different pace. You can tell by the music change. Tell us about Tuesday's show. Tell me about the show on Tuesday, Kurt.
This Tuesday coming up, we are taking a week off because it's Thanksgiving week. And following the week, we got a group out of Essex coming on. Well, a gentleman from out of Essex. And also, we are having that following Thursday, Dark History. We're going to be talking about assassinations throughout history. So, we're going to be busy. Keeping the name out there, keeping busy. That's the way to do it.
Guess what? We're going to fit a caller in, okay? We've got a call. I'm just going to find out who that caller is. And then I'm going to do this as well. So that's what we got planned for Tuesday. And, of course, the Dark History one. I'm really looking forward to listening to that. And I'll phone in when I can, okay?
Oh, yeah, definitely, my man, definitely.
But keep us in the loop with that show.
Oh,
I'm going to bring a caller on. I don't know who it is because I've just got the number up here. But let's welcome them to the show. You're live, caller. Who are you? Hello, can you hear us?
Oh, it's the call of the day.
It's a ghost.
You're talking to me, right?
Yeah, we're talking to you. Hi, what's your name?
Oh, I wasn't expecting to be on the radio. I was just listening to you guys. Hey,
oh, my gosh.
Your favorite medium. I just was on Facebook and saw it was your last show, and so I had to tune in and kind of hear you guys doing your farewells.
Oh, we do our farewells dramatically.
I see that. Very good, though. Very good. I just wanted to wish you all well.
Thank you very much. How are you? And thanks for listening to the show. I mean, you chose like the last 25 minutes to listen to us, and we've been here for 6 months.
No. I've been on the show. What, twice, Kurt? Maybe twice?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. Please. You guys are one of my favorites, and I would have been here sooner had I not had to work all day.
We're still going to be.
We'll excuse you today.
Okay. Thank you.
We're still got a show on Tuesday. Our Tuesday
very good.
show.
Oh, on Tuesdays. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that, because it would be horrible if you guys were completely off the air.
Yeah.
Well, it's just my dulcet tones that you're no longer going to hear, because Kurt's got a fan base. You know, I've got the perfect face for radio, and Kurt has actually got fans. He's got people that actually write to him, and from what I understand, do they really send you love letters and marriage proposals on Facebook?
Underwear.
Ross does. Canadian Ross does. That's basically it.
Canadian Ross.
Yeah, Canadian Ross is my stalker.
Canadian Rose. Do you know you? Everyone,
sweetheart.
And he's in the chat room. But guys, if you don't know who Canadian Ross is, he's one of our friends.
Yeah.
One of Courtney's friends as well.
He likes little kids.
You, Kurt, you're so mean. But you haven't introduced us to your friend. I don't know your friend.
Which friend?
The lady you have on air right now, sir.
Oh, it's Cindy, right?
Yeah. Hey.
I'm hearing medium in this. Yes, it's Cindy. Yeah, she's been on the show twice. And we have a blast actually when she's on the show. She gives great readings too, by the way. So what is it, CityBunts.com? I want to give you a plug since we're heading out right now, Cindy.
He remembers. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's very sweet.
CityBunts.com. Yeah. So if you want to read it, call her up. I highly recommend her. I honestly highly recommend her.
I remember you talking to me off air about Cindy. I remember what you said. You kept saying, "Hey man, you got to have her on your show." I remember, and you got her. Perfect.
Yeah,
perfect.
She's awesome.
It was a good. It was a good show. I listened to one of the shows. A really good show. I enjoyed it very much.
We had fun. It's just a fun time, you know.
Absolutely.
And and having a medium, I'm a little partial, obviously, but having a medium on investigations can be really helpful, so long as you have someone who can back it up with some science.
Absolutely. Yeah. We use mediums a lot, and there are a few mediums that I can say that exaggerate quite a lot, and there's a few mediums that give you information that you can make a lot of use of, and these are the kind of guys we're seeing more and more, the ones that we can make use of, because we're identifying particular patterns and traits in mediums now that enable us to identify who is going to be more useful to us than others. But we find that there are some mediums that really just crave the limelight, and if they're in the limelight, then it's all well and good. But when they come on an investigation with us, they're part of a very small team, maybe about 2 or 3 people, because we split the team into smaller groups. So it's not so much exciting for them, but we still have a fairly good team of mediums behind us, and the information we find is pretty impressive. But there's 1 or 2 people that tend to do it for the social element of it, and the fact that it kind of makes them a bit more accepted in society. But I know loads of mediums that are fantastic. Donna Allen is amazing, and she's only a developing medium, and so far she's come out with some incredible stuff. But I believe in mediums wholeheartedly on investigations, because it's another tool for the job. But you need to get the right medium. That's what I'm saying. The right medium for the right job, I think. It's a bit like having the right shoe. Right. So have you ever done investigations, Cindy?
Absolutely, yeah. I travel throughout the U.S. and help. I have a team of my own that travels, and then I also assist other people with more difficult cases.
Do you find that at times that you find that there is information that you've got and it's really hard to decipher that information and put it to your team as it's being received from you? Do you ever find that you're not sure what's being given, but you know it's something that's to do with where you're at, but it's not quite clear as yet?
No. For me, it's very literal experience. So I see people and I talk to them like if I was sitting there just having a talk. And for me, a lot of it ends up on recording. So I'm told I don't know. I guess I'm told that I'm one of the few people who can do literal translation, which means that I literally can repeat what people on the other side are saying, and then we get that on record. So you can hear them actually tell me what to say in the midst of not only just an investigation, but as well during communication sessions and things like that.
That's amazing. Oh, wow. I feel like it's like 3 minutes of the show left, and we should have had you on the show. We should have had you on the show.
We can chat. Next time I'm on your side of the pond, I'll come visit.
Yeah, you make sure you do. But thank you for popping in and saying hi. I know you weren't meant to, but I think really and truly you were meant to, and it's nice to hear your voice. You know, I heard the show. I was really impressed with the show as well. So, Kurt, you keep it up, because I know you've got a better voice than me, and they love, for some reason, the women just love a big belly. Isn't that right, Andy?
Absolutely.
So Andy got a big belly too?
Rock on, brother.
Oh, rock on, my friend.
Kurt.
Yes, Mickey, what's up?
It's that time.
Yeah, I gotta take care of life now real quick, so you know how that goes.
It's that time. You know what, guys? It's been an absolute hoot. And, you know, we will be back. If we do come back, we will come back with a bigger, better, full format everything. It'll be everything. But at the moment, we can't do that. No time, and I've got to do other things as well. So thank you so much for all your support. Kurt, you've been an absolute star. And do you know what? I've got to do it one more time, okay? It's got to be done. Oh. Guys and girls, for the last time, Kurt's intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome, all the way from the USA, your NLPI Friday Night Paranormal Show host, Kurt Oxton.
You're going to miss that, aren't you, Kurt? You're going to miss that.
I am. Well, we got one coming up with your name in it, too, Mickey, so that's just got to be worked on once I get over a couple of humps here in life, and it's already getting taped and all the above, so you are going to be in part of one, too, so you got to be on the show for that one.
Oh, you're going to do one of me, are you?
Yeah, payback, buddy. Come on. Payback. And I got a girlfriend that...
Do you know what I say about payback? This is what I think about payback. I think it's...
that was funny as hell.
But you know what, guys? It's been great from us and the
Cock-a-doodle-doo, it's time.
The chickens, everything. We've had a laugh, Kurt. It's been great.
Oh, it's been awesome.
But Andy Henson, thank you so much, mate, for everything. Jay Hollis, thank you, sir. I'm going to give you a round of applause, guys. You've been amazing.
Thank you.
Julia Stockhart, David Farron, all the guys on the NLPI team, Steve Brooker, who can't be here, but Steve, I want to say a particular thank you to you. Mo Gunnery as well. Maurice Gunnery. Mo's going to be with Kurt on Tuesday nights, okay, on the USA show. Do you know what?
What's up?
I'm going to say this. It's time, mate. It's time. Good night. God bless. Have a good one. Safe journey. Have a great Christmas.
Cheers.